what we're seeing in Germany now is you have like, what, 2 brutal gang rapes. So, or these random knife attacks every day, like 12, 13, 14, 15 random knife attacks.
Right. Well,
We shut down all of our nuclear power
yes.
plants.
Well, you even
right?
blew some of them up, eh?
We shut them down because of a catastrophe that happened at the other end of the world. So what they're doing is pretty much just manage the poorness more fairly. That's all they're doing, right?
They manage it more fairly
Yeah.
temporarily.
Exactly.
유럽의 몰락을 어떻게 막을 것인가? 독일의 실수를 통해 배운다는 주제로 조던 피터슨과 크리스틴 앤더슨이 대화를 합니다. 크리스틴 앤더슨은 독일에 떠오르는 보수주의 정당인 대한당 소속의 정치인입니다. 최근에 미국도 그렇지만 여러 유럽 국가들에서 보수 정당들이 올라오는 추세죠. 국가는 다르지만 그 이유는 비슷한 것 같습니다. 두 사람의 이야기를 들어보죠.
Where, I mean, democracy, what's it all about? It's government of the people, for the people, and by the people. But we haven't been seeing that in quite some time. For decades, that's been going on. The erosion of these democratic principles. Nowadays, it seems more like the people are being dictated to what their wants and what their needs are going to have to be. And these elected officials, they no longer take into consideration what is actually the best interest of the people that they were elected by and that they're paid by the way. So now this new party comes along that was in 2013. So first we were called EU haters, European haters. We want to just destroy Europe, because we were critics of the currency that we had, the euro. And then the next thing happened, the mass invasion of these immigrants, so-called immigrants, asylum seekers as they claim. And now we were Islamophobes, we were xenophobes. And the lived reality in Germany, it really saddens me to say, but Germany is turning into a hellhole country. We're no longer safe on our streets. I mean, just go back to 2015, New Year's Eve. There was a mob of 1,000 men ganging up on women, just, being out there celebrating New Year's Eve. Notably in Cologne, it was just dreadful what these women experienced, right? So
Saw an echo of that in Paris 2 weeks ago at the
exactly.
music festival.
Yeah. What we're seeing in Germany now is you have 2 brutal gang rapes every single day in Germany. And when I'm saying brutal gang rapes, I mean, these women are not just raped. They're brutally beaten within an inch of their life if they survive it at all, right? 2 of them every single day happening in Germany. And that's not even talking about the rapes where there's only one perpetrator, right? So, or these random knife attacks every day, not only every day, on an hourly basis. We have those, 12, 13, 14, 15 random knife attacks.
실제로 독일의 연간 집단 강간 범죄가 난민 수용 이후에 약 120% 증가했고 그중 외국인이 절반을 차지합니다. 그들 대부분은 시리아, 아프가니스탄, 이라크 출신 난민 및 초기 정착자로 분석되고 있죠. 예전에 메르켈 전 총리가 중동과 북아프리카 난민을 대책도 없이 독일에 받아들였죠. 놀랍게도 메르켈은 독일의 대표적인 보수 정당인 기독민주당 소속입니다. 그리고 저 보수당이 저지른 결과는 현재 저런 끔찍한 범죄로 돌아오고 있죠. 이어서 앤더슨은 이런 보수 정당이 있음에도 대한당이 생겨날 수밖에 없었던 이유에 대해 이야기합니다.
The Christian Democrats are the former Conservative Party. Angela Merkel, she pretty much turned the Christian Democrats into this just woke kind of nonsense party, just adhering to just about everything. She wanted to be everybody's darling.
Right.
And, but if you're everybody's darling, you're everybody's
Yeah, well, the conservatives,
I know.
they take their base for granted. And then they try to occupy the center, eh?
Exactly.
And so they're always pulled to the progressive side.
Right.
요즘 전 세계적으로 깨어있는 척 하려는 사람들이 사회와 나라를 망치는 추세죠. 이 워크한 인간들이 어떤 짓을 하는지 계속 볼게요.
Then we have the Social Democrats. they used to be the representation of the working class, right?
Labor Party.
But they completely abandoned that base too,
Right.
for all kinds of transgender issues and what have you not. So
Yeah, well, economic alienation, let's say, characterized the working class has been replaced by postmodern alienation.
Exactly.
Right? So it's an absolute
Yes.
multiplication of oppressed status.
yeah.
People who seem to suffer the most from that in terms of lacking representation are most perversely the working class people that some
Yes.
labor parties actually did work to represent not
Exactly.
so long ago. Okay, so
Exactly.
the Social Democrats have gone
Right.
seriously postmodern and woke.
Exactly.
Okay.
Then we have the free democratic liberals, is what they were called. They were libertarian. They used to be, but they're just the same thing now, pretty much as the Christian Democrats.
사회당은 독일의 전통적인 야당입니다. 기민당과 함께 약 70년간 2강 체제를 유지하고 있었죠. 하지만 저들도 여지없이 워크한 척 하려다 보니 기민당과 똑같은 짓을 하고 있다는 겁니다. 자신들의 기반 정치 세력까지 져버리면서 말이죠. 근데 신기한 건 워크한 일에는 항상 트랜스젠더 이슈와 환경 문제가 포함되어 있네요. 이어서 두 사람은 EU의 실체에 대해서 이야기를 이어나갑니다.
The European countries decided to form a trade union, kind of, you know? So there was called European Economic Union. You know, we'll get rid of tariffs and everything to
Eliminate
kind of like
trade barriers.
liberalize, you know, how we trade among each other. But that was it. It was the idea all along to gradually upgrade this whole monstrum, you said it correctly, into this supranational kind of government, pretty much. That was legitimate back then, and it worked. You know, it was a good idea. But like I said, then they started evolving from there, you know, and sovereign rights were relinquished. In the beginning, it was just, you know, things that kind of made sense. Let's invest in a common kind of external border protection, that type of thing, right? But now we are at a point where the peoples of Europe are no longer sovereign. They are no longer deciding their own political fate. And if they try to do so, as we have seen in Romania just recently,
Oh, yeah.
they just go ahead and annul an election for their claim that Călin Ceausescu was apparently allegedly financed somehow by Russia or whatever.
Just like Trump.
Exactly. So they just claimed that was enough to just annul the election, and not only that, but bar him from running again. I'm speaking about, you know, how democratic principles are being abolished pretty much across the board throughout every single Western democracy. And it's a power grab.
실제로 2012년 루마니아에서는 대통령 탄핵을 두고 국민투표가 실시되었고 88%의 찬성표로 대통령은 탄핵이 됩니다. 근데 EU에서 이걸 걸고 넘어졌어요. 루마니아 헌법재판소에서 투표율이 50% 이하였기 때문에 탄핵은 무효라고 선언한 걸 EU에서 지지하고 나선 거죠. 이게 공식적인 명분이었고 비공식적인 명분은 탄핵을 주도했던 크린 안토네스쿠가 러시아로부터 자금을 받았다는 의혹 때문입니다. 따라서 러시아의 세력 확장을 막기 위해 EU가 루마니아의 정치에 개입했다는 추측이 가능하죠. EU야 어찌되었던 간에 EU가 유럽연합, 유럽경제공동체를 넘어선 초국가적인 기관이 되어서 유럽 각국의 권력 행사를 넘어 주권까지 침해하고 있다는 건데요. 어쩌다 이렇게 된 걸까요?
The question, or begs the question, but why would a sovereign government of a country, let's say Germany, voluntarily relinquish their power to this supranational organization called EU? Well, it's very simple. The agenda they are trying to implement, all of the policies they're trying to implement, they wouldn't get away with that in a democracy. If the people saw, wait a minute, that government just is trying to do this, then we will no longer elect them. But what if they had a way of blaming someone else for that? And that's exactly how this play is
What
working out
policies are
here.
you speaking of specifically?
For example, the climate change policy.
the net zero policies.
Exactly, the whole transgender ideology. I mean, these are all things that they want to implement. So, but they would no longer they wouldn't get reelected if they advocated for these things. But now, having the EU institutions, it's pretty much providing them with plausible deniability.
The activist types have got an appeal to a centralized authority that can supersede national sovereignty, and that frequently does. It also seems to me to be the case that politicians whose ambition knows no bounds have their eye on the ultimate prize. And if that means sacrificing local or national interests,
Exactly.
then so be it.
소위 스스로 깨어있다고 생각하는 자들이 자신의 정책을 실행하고 싶어서 가장 큰 권력을 가진 기관에 붙었다는 건데 그게 바로 EU라는 거죠. 그리고 이 워크한 자들이 추진하는 대표적인 정책이 바로 기후변화 정책, 급진적 젠더 정책, 이민자 무제한 수용 및 다문화주의입니다. 얼핏 봐도 혼란스럽죠? 전통적인 기독교 가치관을 갖고 있는 유럽 사람들에게는 더 심각하게 느껴질 겁니다. 이제 두 사람은 EU의 문제점에 대해 이야기하기 시작합니다.
You have to ask yourself how a policy as reprehensible and vacuous as the climate change narrative, which the pathology of which I think was most amply demonstrated by the fact that it was once global warming and then it became climate change overnight, which is really quite something.
Yeah.
It's not warming up, it's increased variability. It's like, that's actually very different. And the fact that you're telling the same story with a completely different premise is extremely telling. And so then you might ask why, and I think it's the age-old story of the Pharisees, is that these meta-narratives, environmentalism in particular, but also concern for income distribution, they're ways of allowing people to claim a admirable reputation and morality while doing absolutely nothing except power-mongering on the basis of that claim, while doing absolutely nothing to deserve it. So you get
Exactly.
that combination of centralized control and moral hypocrisy. That's an absolutely deadly combination.
But they kind of have to do the moralization, I mean, how else would they be able to tax people into oblivion? And the question really is, how is taxing people into poverty going to save our planet?
Well, especially when
it's
the
hubris
evidence...
to even think that
Well-
we could save the planet, right?
지구온난화에서 기후변화로 용어가 바뀌었다는 건 기후변화 담론이 과학에서 정치로 변질되었다는 걸 의미합니다. 용어만 봐도 기후변화는 지구온난화보다 더 크고 포괄적인 개념이죠. 광범위하고 모호하기 때문에 권력자들이 이를 자신들의 정치적 목적으로 활용하고 있다는 거예요. 예를 들어서 여름에 폭염이 오거나 겨울에 한파가 오면 기후변화 때문, 홍수나 산불도 기후변화 때문이라고 말한다는 거죠. 그리고 이걸 막으려면 탄소세를 내야 하고 내연기관 차를 줄여야 하고 원자력 발전소를 닫아야 한다고 EU의 정치인들이 말한다는 거예요. 권력자들은 이런 프레임을 이용해서 환경을 지키는 척하면서 국민을 통제하는 방향으로 유도하고 있습니다. 따라서 정치인들이 기후를 핑계로 세금을 걷고 국민을 가난하게 만들면서 지구를 구할 수 있다고 주장하는 건 현실 감각이 전혀 없는 그저 오만한 뿐이라고 얘기하고 있는 거예요.
We shut down all of our nuclear power
Yes.
plants,
Well, you even
right?
blew some of them up, eh?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Which is really something.
Well, I mean, it's just to think about how ridiculous that is. So, in Germany, we had the highest standards as far
Right.
as nuclear power plants were concerned, right?
Yeah.
They were the safest
and the best engineering.
Of course, we had all of that. So we shut them down because of a catastrophe that happened at the other end of the world. So we're tearing down our nuclear power plants, highest standard ever, and but we are buying now the nuclear power from France or Poland or the Eastern European countries because they're building nuclear power plants.
Right.
So I mean, anyone with 2 brain cells left intact really has to see how this is the biggest scam ever.
덕분에 독일의 전기요금은 5배가 올랐다고 합니다. 국민 개개인에게 엄청난 부담이 되면 물론이고 이로 인해 산업마저 무너지고 있다고 하죠. 독일은 연중 일조 시간이 짧고 북부 해안가를 제외하면 바람도 약해서 태양광이나 풍력 에너지를 쓰기에도 불리합니다. 그런데 어거지로 농지에 태양광 패널을 설치하고 숲을 베어서 풍력 터빈을 세웠다고 해요. 당연하게도 효율이 안 나오니까 부족한 전력을 보충하기 위해서 오염이 심한 갈탄을 사용해서 화력 발전하고 있다고 합니다. 환경 오염을 줄이려다가 오히려 더 오염시키고 있어요. 이러니 위선자들의 사기극이라고 말하는 거죠. 이어서 두 사람은 이런 사기극을 벌인 워크한 사람들, 권력을 잡은 사회주의자들의 심리에 대해 말합니다.
So it's a failure even by the standards of the people who pushed the legislation to begin with.
Yes.
And all to what? All to bolster the proclamations of the green income redistributors that they're moral agents working in the service of the planet and the poor, which they're clearly not. In fact, quite the opposite. There's been some psychological studies recently on the psychological predictors of support for income redistribution. So George Orwell said decades ago that when he was speaking of the middle class socialists, so the virtue signaling types, because he could never understand their motivations, or elite socialists, that they didn't like the poor, they just hated the rich.
So much, yeah.
Well, so there's been some psychological studies recently. I know of 3 papers that measured people's attitude towards fairness as a motivation, because that's usually the motivation, right, for income redistribution. It's only fair. Compassion and malicious envy.
Yeah.
Right. Fairness didn't predict support for income redistribution at all. 0. Compassion predicted a little bit, but the biggest predictor was malicious envy. Right? So it really is a destructive, it is a destructive ideology masquerading as compassion and worship of nature.
Right. Exactly.
지난번 페미니즘을 다룬 영상에서도 나이든 여자들의 질투심이 이 젊은 여자들의 사고와 가치관을 망가뜨리고 고통스럽게 만든다고 했었죠. 그런데 정치권에 있는 사회주의자들도 그들의 악의적 질투심 때문에 기후변화나 젠더 이슈를 명분으로 세금을 걷어서 소득을 재분배하려 한다는 거죠. 세금으로 돈을 뿌린다니까 떠오르는 게 하나 있죠. 우리나라라고 해서 다를 거 없습니다. 질투심이 우리가 사는 세계를 망치고 있는 악의 축이었다니 진짜 기가 막히네요.
What the communists or socialists actually do is they don't increase anyone's wealth. They do not contribute so that the overall income will actually increase. What they're doing is pretty much just manage the poorness more fairly. That's all they're doing, right?
They manage it more fairly temporarily.
Exactly. But they're not productive. It never increases productivity. It never increases anything. Why? Because if you are trying to establish a totally equal society, where is the ambition? That is the actual driver of mankind to better themselves, to have a better life for their children. They will be willing to do a lot and work a lot if in the end it means I myself will have a better life and I will have a better life or will provide a better life for my children. But if that is taken away because you're now being looked upon in like, oh, you've got too much. You own 2 books. You're only allowed 1 book. So I have to take that 1 book away from you.
Success is theft.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so,
that's the pathway to rapid poverty.
소외계층을 돕는 척, 환경을 생각하는 척 하면서 정책을 펼치려는 사람들을 우리는 주의 깊게 살펴봐야겠죠. 자신들의 권력을 위해서 이를 정치적으로 이용할 확률이 가장 높을 테고요. 그게 아니라면 그저 가난을 분배하려는 열등감에 사로잡힌 이상주의자일 테니까요. 물론 그 중에도 좋은 사람들은 있을 거예요. 앤더슨은 자신이 왜 이런 정치적 활동을 하고 있는지에 대해서 말합니다.
It's very simple. It's during the COVID, it was so obvious what the playbook was. And it was to abolish freedom, democracy, and the rule of law in every single Western democracy. Our freedom, democracy, and the rule of law, we are under attack, especially in the Western democracies. And that's why I'm speaking.
마지막으로 앤더슨은 악의적 질투심을 감추고 좋은 일, 바른 일을 하는 척 세상을 망치고 있는 정치인들에 대해 이렇게 말합니다.
We cannot force them to tell the truth. but we can force them to lie even more blatantly.
오늘도 마인드 벌크업 합시다.